let's make sure everybody gets in here. We'll get this pate, shall we say pate, started. Good morning, my friends. ¿Cómo estás ustedes? Bien, bien. Good. Today is Friday, September 14th, and welcome to The Big Show. I am your host, Kunal Desai. That's the way it goes. All right, let's get to it. How's everybody doing? Hey, Brad, what's up, baby? Good trades yesterday in that PDD. Mr. Crawford, what's going on? God bless you. Charles, hello. All right, so flat day in the market after the gap up, but man, there were runners everywhere yesterday. So when you see this, like even if the market looks like this, you know, like sometimes we're trained to think that the market's choppy because it's going sideways. When people say the market's choppy, it doesn't mean it's going sideways. You know, essentially it means that, you know, there's just no stocks that are moving around, essentially. You know, sometimes a sideways day or flat days in the markets even could be the best days to trade. You know, there was considerable amounts of movers on yesterday. I mean, you don't see this kind of stuff all the time. You know, we were trading some of these stocks in the chat room that were just flying. So, you know, that's the nature of the game over here. But that's, I think we've got a few good plays out here today. So let's get to it. So there weren't that many good gappers, but what can you do, man? What can you do? So what you want to go with this is like we've got kind of day 3 in the SPY, but we should come here and get to kind of to this old highs over here. So overall the market's strong. You know, we're still a few points from highs, but I would say that as long as we're kind of trending higher, it doesn't matter if you have 1% days, 2% days, 15% days, right, in the market. You just want to see that thing in an uptrend. You know, we're more concerned as day traders with just the overall structure of the market versus the day-to-day of the market, whether it's up this day or down this day. You know, we want to just make sure that we're staying in a run-up zone and kind of lightening up our risk when we get into distribution zones. And so, you know, right now we're still in a run-up zone. So it's going to be pretty good. In terms of the plays, you know, I got the CSBR on the list here. You got a 5 million share float on this bad boy. The caveat on this is going to be volume. It doesn't really do that much volume. So I'll probably stay away from it. But if it starts firing off like at the open, you know, millions of shares in volume, then that's something that, you know, I would put on the list and say, okay, we have something that is going to be, we have something that's going to have some juice to it. You know, that's the key to all things. And you can see, like, even on its hottest days, it never does anything. So most likely I won't trade it. But if it starts firing off, you know, millions of shares, then, you know, that's the nature of the game. I'll go with that. Put this NIO on list. So, yeah, this was the big trender yesterday. It's already dropped $2 pre-market. So that's going to be a little bit tricky. One thing to think about with this one is going to be, though, I would rather this thing open weak than gap up today because it's already on its 3rd day. On day 3s, if you gap up, it's basically out of the picture. But on day 3s, if you tank at the open, then you have all that room back up to the pre-market high and the previous day's high. And so you have kind of room to fade back up. And so that's always my rule for day 3s. Gap up, I leave it alone. Gap down, we could go potentially red to green, right? And soak in more players into the trade. And so we'll definitely keep an eye on this. I'll watch this thing for red to green. Hey, Abdo, how you doing? So that's going to be something to mind. So like how you want to do this, so it's already open in week, right? Once this thing opens week, start looking for like different support zones from yesterday, right? Start looking at different support zones. You start to see it hold. You could nibble on it over there at one of the hold spots. And then once it goes red to green, right, you can kind of double up on the play as long as it's not too far from your original buys and your original support. So that's kind of how I'm looking to play this thing. The key to this is going to be, though, if it doesn't hold support, then you've got to be careful as it may ORB back to the downside, and then like you're fucked, right? So you've got to get out of it quick. So like when you go and counter trend and trying to get some type of dip, you've got to really come in. It's got to work pretty much right away. Otherwise, it's not going to be that fun on this one. So that's going to be always the nature of the game. I got this star on the watch list too. You know, you can see this thing over here. You know, it's coming out of this zone. You've got this gap up over here. And that's going to be, you know, this one's got a 24 million share float. It's already been trending. The key's going to be on this one is, you know, is their volume at the open. I will not take an ORB trade, meaning, right, gap up, 3 sideways candles and go, unless it's got at least 500,000 shares in volume to get this thing going. If that's the case, then we're ready to go. All right, then we're ready to go. PGTI gapping down on some type of news over today. Yeah, it's an dun dun dun. You know what? I'm taking this off the list because it's an acquisition and an offering. So essentially, you're doing offering and acquisition. That one's going to be a lot more dicey to go. So just kind of be mindful of that. And then I've got this play. So I like this play a lot. My girl Carrie, one of my students, gave this to me. So you got a flag pattern over here, and you're starting to already trend up pre-market. We'll look for 2 patterns at the open, right? If you get a gap up and sideways, then we're looking for an ORB. If we pull back, then we're looking for a quick pullback buy, right? A quick pullback buy is essentially something like this, where, you know, you may come back, like it may not hold, and then, you know, you start to come back and you start to round up, you know, at one of your moving averages, and then you try to go, right? So that's, you know, where you got to kind of go with those things. That quick pullback buy is an effective setup, but it's gotta be there. Add a couple of these to the list. I don't know if this thing's gonna have the juice or the volume, but it kind of sounds like Neo, right? I mean, Y-I-N-I-O. It all sounds like the same shit. This is a IPO stock too. Watch this thing. If it starts to get some real volume into this thing, you know, we may want to be day trading this bad boy. I've still got this ALNY on the watch list here. You know, we started to kind of bounce a little bit yesterday, but it got screwed up because it kind of gapped up yesterday, which is no good. When you're doing a rubber band setup, you need the thing to gap down for it to trigger. I'd still keep that on the watch list. We've got this SQ for a flag pattern here. And guys, remember, these are day trading watch lists, right? This is not something for swing trades. You know, that's just the nature of the game. And then I would add this AMD to the watch list for potential green to red. It dumped yesterday, about $5. It's opening up okay today. I want to see like how this thing stalls at some resistance levels. If you start to see it stall and then break down levels of support like it did yesterday, see like how like it gapped up like it did today, and then you start to see it like break down levels of support, watch and see how it reacts around there, because like once this thing breaks, if it breaks down its gap, you know, we could short this thing into the VWAP or on bear flags. It's already kind of doing the same thing here. Yesterday, there was a tremendous amount of volume selling on this thing. 300 million shares in volume on a big red day. The one thing to remember with this thing is it hasn't had a big red day in... It hasn't had a big down day in for a while, so it very well could have some more downside. I don't know for sure, though, and the reason is that in this market, it's been really, really hard to short stocks for multiple days. You know, you kind of get like a one-day drop, maybe 2 days, and then it's like ramp city. So that's just the nature of the game. I know everybody's asking about TRY. This thing's opening really weak. To me, this is not a buy anymore at this point. You know, the party was had, right? And the party was fun. There were strippers, there was cocaine, there was Thompsons and GBs and all sorts of stuff that went down. But that party is over, right? Everybody had their fun. Everybody had their fill. And, you know, now it's just got to do what it's got to do. I wouldn't even consider really buying this unless it got down into the, maybe the 90s and 80s, and that's only for like a flip, you know, meaning like a quick day trade. Otherwise, it's looking nasty on the open today. I would not be surprised, though, at 98 and already down 14% for it to do a quick pop, though, because the SSR will be on it. So I would not be surprised to see it quickly pop to, you know, maybe even 110 or so and then kind of roll back over. Because when the SSR is on it, you can short squeeze like really, really fast. And so, you know, that's the nature of the game. But when you think about like a trade, you know, we've had from the $70 break, you know, you got to 130, so it's over a 50% gain. You're outside the top of the Bollinger Band. You're overbought in the stochastic. So if you get overbought and you're outside the top of the Bollinger Band, that's a really stretched level. And so, like, where's your reward at that point? You know, you've got to always ask yourself, like, was the easy money made, right? Was the easy money made, or, you know, am I the last one to the party? You know, and that's how we've always got to think about this. And so, you know, my thinking is that the easy money was made. And you can see like some of its friends, like CGC, are going down. It had a 13% down day yesterday. It trended all day. You can get borrows on this one. Getting short borrows on TLRY is tough. You would have to use put options, and they were really expensive yesterday. You can get borrows on CGC, though, much easier because its float's higher. Just, you know, tends to do a little bit more liquidity out of it. So, you know, if you need a short on some of these, I'd keep an eye on this. And like I said, you know, these things got a lot more downside, but momentum is hard to kill. So, you know, don't be surprised if you get some short-term, really fast bounces in these things. That's just the nature of how they move. But I do think that the kind of the easy money is over on these things. And so, you know, you can use also the MJ ETF. This is the Mary Jane ETF to kind of, you know, if you need to get some shorts in this thing, this will be probably easier to borrow also. Guys, it's Friday. As we know, there's not a huge amount of gappers today. You know, we only have a few. Our focus list will really be on this NEO and this PDD. They're both opening week. I wouldn't be surprised to see these things go red to green. This thing had 17 million shares in volume, up 30%. We were all over this thing in the chat room yesterday. I do think this one's got a little bit more juice, but it's Friday. Try not to screw up today. Guys, you know, make sure if you're enjoying these things that just give it a thumbs up on the YouTube. It helps me with the algorithms and just growing our community and getting it out there. You know, we want to take this thing to the masses. So, you know, if you like it, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Give me a thumbs up. And I'm going to see you guys on Monday. We're going to bring some heat today. And if any of you guys want to trade with us live, I'm always in the Bulls on Wall Street chat room. God bless you. Let's go do this. Be good today. Be great. And you guys let me know if you ever need any questions answered. My email is kunal@bullson.ws, and we'll get this party going. And I love to hear from you guys. Anybody ever want to text me or call me? My cell's 517-974-1480. As always, God bless you guys. Trade well today. And remember, it's Friday. Never take so much risk that you feel like your weekend would be ruined and you're going to be thinking about it all weekend, right? So never take that much risk where you're going to ruin your weekend. So guys, let's do this. Let's be good. Let's be great. It's 9:28. You know what we got to do. It's showtime for what we got to do. As always, we only eat what we kill, so it's time to put the women and children to bed and go hunting for dinner. Let's go do this. All right, my friends, my peoples. Adios.